We've started this whole rum journey with the Cuba Libre and the daiquiri. I then guided you through the starter rums to help you get on your way. We've stocked your home bars with the essential syrups and liqueurs and purees. Now it's time to properly get into the rum cocktails. With a little bit of chat in my membership community, we decided to start off with the mojito. It's that easy, basic cocktail that I personally really take for granted. I mean, the amount of you at home that are commenting on my videos and sliding into my DMs, telling me that you've tried your daiquiri for the very first time has blown me away. I just naturally assume that everyone's had a daiquiri or a mojito. Even my membership community are now happily trying their different rum hauls of what they've bought and now being able to pick out the differences in daiquiris, in Cuba Libres and cocktails like that. So why do I take the mojito for granted? Well, it's essentially the very first rum cocktail that I had to make for real back in my career. It's just essentially a lengthened out daiquiri. It's just basically a daiquiri with mint and soda water. Now, to make the mojito, I'm going to show you the simple faff-free method. I'm going to use a lime, a bit of mint, soda water, some sugar syrup, and my rum. No need, as I say, faff-free, no need to kind of muddle down the limes in this. I'm just going to take the juice of one whole lime, squeeze that in, and then take the second half and do exactly the same. Just so we don't lose out on the whole zesty kind of flavours coming off the skin. I've just basically cut up a half, quartered it and just popped that in. Now for the sugar syrup. Now, as I always say, it's exactly the same as the daiquiri. You adjust the taste. Always start off with 15ml, half a shot. And then if you need to add more at the end, then you can just add more. But it's a lot easier to sweeten a mojito up than it is to sour it back down. And if it doesn't taste right at the end, it's just that simple ratio of sugar. So sugar to lime. So just simply bump up the sugar. Now I'm going to go for my go-to rum for this. I'm just using Plantation 3 stars. And I've got a double bubble going on in there. Now I've got plenty of fresh mint. These are decent sized mint leaves. So I just want about 8, possibly 10 mint leaves. Then we pop them in the palm of the hand and we just give them a spank. That'll awake the aromas, and then we just simply pop them in our glass. And then we simply take our soda water and just, no need to measure it. I always say just half fill. It will be about 75ml, give or take, 75 to 100ml. Half fill your glass. Then fill your glass 2/3 of the way up with crushed ice. Take your long bar spoon, give the drink a churn, bring the limes and the mint to the top. Top up with more crushed ice, and then take a couple of mint sprigs, again awake the aromas, and just pop them in. There's one thing I quickly want to touch on, and that's the whole sugar to citrus ratios. With the daiquiri, I've emphasised it's very much on you to find your ratio, whether that's 2-1/2, whether that's 4-1-1, whether that's 8-2-1. I think sometimes that is, depending on the rum you use and depending on your palate, I think sometimes that will actually be very true for the mojito as well. I do know people that drink a mojito as an 8-2-1 ratio. However, after the amount of cocktail masterclasses I've done, after the amount of times I've banged mojitos out in events, I always think the go-to ratio, the go-to way to make it is what I've just done in this. And that's kind of the 2-1/2 ratio. I just think it suits all palates. And as I say, for those of you that do want it a little bit sweeter, just make the cocktail as I've shown you, add a little bit of sugar syrup at the end if it doesn't taste right. It's a lot easier to sweeten a mojito up than it is to sour it back down. But the reason I think that 2-1/2 works so well is just for me, the mojito just needs to be slightly sweeter than a daiquiri to give it that kind of fun, beachy vibe. You don't want it too rum forward or too citrusy when you're just sitting there relaxing one afternoon in the hot weather. You just want it to be nice and easy. Now, which rum do we pick for a daiquiri? Some people say Bacardi, some people say Havana 3-year-old. For me, as you've just seen, I've just made this with Plantation 3 stars. It's been my go-to kind of daiquiri rum for a long time. The traditionalist in me kind of thinks that the white or light rums work a lot better for a mojito. I think personally, and just whether that's in my headspace, I don't know, but I think personally it just works a lot better as a light rum as opposed to a sort of a lightly aged gold rum. But as I've said in previous videos, there is no right or wrong, only the rums that you love. So I'm setting you guys some homework. I want you to comment below and I want you to slide into my DMs. Let me know your favourite rums for a mojito, whether it's light rums, what brand, whether it's gold or aged rums. Again, what brand, what is your go-to? That is the homework I'm setting you this week. I mean, let's be honest, I've just plucked these from the back bar behind me. I know all 5 of these are going to make amazing mojitos, and it's something that I'm going to do maybe on a live stream, maybe in private, kind of test them out just to see my own personal preference on mojitos and gold rums, and do they compare to light rums. Now, in the interest of science and research, because I've never really had the opportunity to do a whole big sort of tasting like this, especially when I did the daiquiris, the Cooper Libras, I've only done like a couple of Bacardi versus Havana. I've never been able to do something like this. So this is, as I say, this is a journey for me as much as it is for you guys. Now, the one thing I'm going to say first off, what we got 7 here, you are not going to be disappointed with any of these. You know, there's not a horrible one here. So don't get into that kind of realms. Don't go, Bacardi, There is not a horrible one here. If you paid money for any one of these, you are going to absolutely love them. But this has just blown my little tiny mind again, because these are all identical. All right, I've made these slightly tinier, but exactly the same ratios. They're all identical. And the flavours coming off all 6 are, you know, incomparable in some cases. Incomparable. I'm going to be brutally honest here. I have definitely got a ranking order. For me, personally, actually, Havana comes bottom, closely followed by Bacardi. This is really insane, because Havana is something that I've poured for years in my business, and it's just got this weird kind of taste. When compared to those, there's no kind of competition. You know, I dare say you could play about with the ratios, but you know, as I say, that is the ratio that I've been used to, that I've been pouring, that I enjoy. I like it. I enjoy it. I don't dislike it. That's what I want to get it through to you. I don't dislike it at all. I enjoy it. But when you taste it alongside these, you're like, wow. Now, my top pick is the Flor de Cana. I absolutely adore that. That is really good, and could dethrone Plantation 3 stars. It could. I'm undecided yet. There are very different feels. You get kind of the vanilla tropical fruits coming off that, whereas with the Plantation 3 stars, you get little hints of vanilla again, but you almost get more citrusy fruits coming off that than you do the sort of tropical fruits off that. Now, when it comes to a second place, my head is kind of confused here, because we've got 2 different ways to go here. The El Dorado 3-year-old I absolutely adore, but it's a very different flavour profile. Almost kind of chocolate, the same as what we've got in the daiquiri. We've got very slight hints of sort of chocolate going on. The oak from the barrels, it's kind of got that sort of flavour profile to it. Yes, there's a little bit of vanilla. It's a lovely mojito, but if I'm being brutally honest, perhaps not a summer refreshing afternoon mojito compared to these 2. Now, if we go to the Barcello first, that's kind of exactly what I want from a mojito. As I say, it doesn't compete with the Flor de Cana 4-year-old, but it just does the job. It's summer, it's refreshing. You've got slight elements of sort of citrusy spice going on there, but you do get those tropical notes. However, the Dorley's 3-year-old, the more I sit here and think about it, I would actually put in second place. The Dorley's 3-year-old kind of gives you little elements of coconut, little elements of tropical fruits. There's vanilla coming through there. It's a really, really good mojito. Now, as I stand here and debate this even longer in my own little head, would I swap? Would I go from Flor de Cana to... They are 2 different mojitos, and I love them both equally. But you know what? I reckon the Flor de Cana has actually dethroned the Plantation 3 stars for me. That is a firm set. And do you know what? The more I stand here, I absolutely really love this Dorley's as well. I might have to put that Dorley's up into second place and Plantation 3 stars down into third place. I don't know. But this is what it's all about. This is my palate. This is not me telling you that is better than that. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know, especially my legends, my membership community. I know you've got a lot of these rums. I want you to let me know, either in the comments or in the Discord chat. But anyone else at home, what is your go-to? Are you a light rum fan? Are you a gold rum fan? I really want to do the gold rum mojitos now. This has just blown me away. That Flor de Cana, that Dorley's, they are really good. So now that we've attacked the mojito and I've shown you how to make that, the very next basic cocktail we kind of need to attack is the dark and stormy.